Salutations. Welcome to the Cars, Bars, and Guitars podcast, episode number 61. I'm AJ.
And I'm Steve, and I can almost do that.
He did it. Well, Steve, who are we brought to you today by?
Carrying around 9 wheels in the back of your car.
From various Toyotas, right?
Yes. So, picked up a set of 4 2011 Highlander wheels, so there can be only 4.
Here we are.
Not Queen's best effort. Not a fan of that song. To replace the Ninja Stars on the Sci-Vibe. I'm not nuts about them. Kalen likes them. You seem to really like them.
I do.
But I figure once the Falcon tires are done, hey, that's their name, folks.
If they're,
I'll finally swap them out.
I wonder what kind of wheel spacers I would have to use on the Jeep to run those fucking things.
I figure the center bore would be of concern since I think it's a 60.1 center bore, and going Toyota to Toyota, that's another 5x1114.3. I shouldn't have to do anything. A little concerned that these are 7.5 inches wide instead of 7 inches wide. There's not a lot of wiggle room beneath those wheel wells, unlike the Vibe that could eat whatever.
And it did.
Yes, either the 225, 45, 18s that were on the NKs that were riding in the back, but the guy I bought the wheels from wasn't even there, so I went to his shop and his buddy handled everything. It's like, well, I got the wheels and somebody has the money. See you later.
Yep.
That was a neat little shop, though. They do tinting and have one tire bay and some pretty good prices. So shout out to the Tire Medic of Indian Land, South Carolina.
That's straight down 521, right?
Yeah, okay. About 6 miles south of Ballantyne proper.
That's right. I still need to make it out to either Frugal or State Line.
Yep.
Sean
and
likes...
oddly enough, I think both of them would take about as long since Frugal's right off 77 and 521 goes a while before it changes states on you.
They Starbucks each other. They're very, very close by. But Andy prefers Frugal because price. And sure. Preston prefers State Line for rarity.
Okay.
Take that as it may.
Sure. There's a lot of stuff at State Line I'd never seen before, but I'm also not often in a liquor store, and I figured being in South Carolina, why, yes, everybody can just walk on in, and it really only cares about social distancing when it's time to check out.
Yeah, and you can even go in if you're under a certain age. They don't care, as long as you don't buy anything or drink it.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, what are we drinking today, speaking of booze?
So what I did pick up is JP Whispers, without the H, Spice Whiskey Vanilla. Well, which is it, spiced or vanilla?
We'll be the judge of that. And
all
also,
right.
You're drinking...
So I've got a Golden Road Mango Cart Mango Wheat Ale, a fine selection out of L.A. E2?
I've got Bell's Bright White, a Belgian-inspired wheat ale.
Inspired, you say?
Inspired?
Inspired.
Inspired.
Are you tired?
Kind of.
Holy beer's not expired?
A bright and refreshing alternative to darker style beers, this Belgian-inspired wheat ale has a mix of clove and fruity aromas.
All right.
Whiskey first?
Whiskey first.
Tango Foxtrot. Mango Foxtrot.
I think. That's $20 well spent.
That's absolutely.
I like that a lot. Like,
that's absolutely.
I've got plenty of plain Jane whiskey at the house, but this is vanilla. I like vanilla.
I do
I like
too.
this.
Why is vanilla considered like plain?
Because that's been the least sophisticated ice cream ever. That's what you put stuff into, but vanilla itself is delicious. It doesn't get the respect it deserves.
That looks familiar.
Windows gonna Windows.
I'll let it do its thing while we chat. We got a little bit of time before I actually need it.
Yeah. If you want to poke at this. That reminds me, Kellen's birthday's coming up, but you want the tablet, so I need to figure out something on that.
Well, Scorpios isn't available for extra dollars. So.
No, but this is my last of the short weeks.
Yeah.
This is my last non-working day after 2 months of 18-hour weeks. It's I appreciate the offer for working, but I also appreciate having rested. I do not appreciate the sheer freaking out that I did along the way, but lots of mechanical interesting things along the way as well. Like, oh, sure, get rid of old car due to emissions failure, and new car is throwing different check engine light. Since last weekend discovered a gas smell coming from this 4-year-old car. So Shop A quoted me $1,500 to replace the gas tank. Sound a bit extreme to you folks? You betcha.
Want to explain?
And upon...
sorry to interrupt. I was going to say, are you going to explain why they had to replace the entire thing instead of just, a gasket?
This is some old school Volkswagen engineering I've seen here, where really it needed the gasket from the top of the tank, which apparently is not available separate of the tank, which could be anywhere from $500 to $930, and they were going to give it the full damn $930 plus labor to swap that out.
Get a fuel cell cheaper than that. The first ever Scion IM with a fuel cell.
For what it's worth, I'm not even using the spare tire. I could just add an extra tank to the back of it. 14 gallons seems like so little. Never mind how heavy that be, and it gets 400 miles on the tank, but still.
That would be, the smallest tank I had was the HX, and I'm pretty sure
was it under 10.
It was an under 10, but man, the savings,
yeah.
42 miles per gallon.
The imaginary motorbike could have had a 3.
Yeah, funny you should mention that, Steve. So I've decided all day today I was back and forth. I was like on the way to work. I was in the Jeep with the windows down, and I was like, man, could you imagine the wind and going? It'd be so much fun.
It shouldn't be wind in your hair unless you go into South Carolina. They have to carry the helmet once you get back to this dumb side of the Carolinas. So there goes that, A. Well, and two,
when I was out of the car and back inside, I'm like, do I really want one? Or am I just scratching the itch that I want another toy? And I do like the idea of a bike. I have my permit now. I got it Wednesday. But do I want to, without having riding experience, buy a bike and then a brand new bike at that, basically, and ride it around and potentially have something bad happen? So it intrigues me, but I don't know if I really, if I'm not 100% on something, I shouldn't do it. And that's what I told the seller. And also blamed Emily and said she wouldn't let me have one. But I already asked her if it was okay if I blamed her. She said okay, because we had a talk. I was like, she goes, well, do we have enough save? Don't we need to save more money? I'm like, well, I sold the car, honey.
Yeah, that would help.
It helped a lot. But I kind of want, I've always been a gearhead, so I'm not ruling out a bike in the near future. But I think for right now, I'm just going to wait till the right thing comes available. Too bad they sold it, but Japanese Classics LLC had a handsome car for sale. And
Suzuki Cappuccino.
I said handsome, not aw.
Adorable.
F20 swap Cappuccino. Holy hell. Or did you get a Honda Beat?
Yeah, that would be very you.
Oh, it's very, very tiny, though. Like, that's... I don't know.
Did you see the Everyday Driver when the guys are taking K cars around Seattle?
Mm-hmm. And also...
It was real funny when... Paul's the one that's 6'6" or something crazy,
yeah.
trying to basically Shaq in the Buick ad, oh yeah, here he is behind the wheel of this new small Buick, and his knees are up to his ears.
Yep. We didn't.
Oh yes. Busy yapping.
Nice.
Finish my fuel story. What?
Yeah, you definitely do.
Let's get derailed.
Get really derailed today. Just call us Amtrak.
Heyo. All right, Sylvester Mashutska. Guy that got busted. Was allegedly derailing trains during World War II and never found.
Damn. Was he related to D.B. Cooper?
Maybe.
Good grief.
I learned about that from one of Jelly Biafra's many, many, many side projects.
Yes.
So Manchester quotes me entirely too much. Pay them $100 for the diagnostic fee and picked the car up and headed straight to Metropolitan Tire near my old place of work. Sorry, Russ, but you're a cantankerous jerk, so I wasn't going that far out to go get yelled at since he was at least bit upset, A, he didn't find me the car, or 2, by his 15-year-old vibe for entirely too much money. It's a lovely car, but $4,500 is twice over too many.
You bought 2 cars from him, right?
Just one. I borrowed.
The truck.
No, he had a dead ringer for the '97 Tacoma.
Oh.
I was loaned it once. That is the major perk of that shop, though, is that he'll loan you a car while yours is in the shop. And then, in the course of the Vibe, I had several loaners.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just things happen. Usually around this time, if it needed to skirt emissions, that would take a few days, and he couldn't ever hammer out how to do it or find a part to fit it. I could have easily taken it somewhere else, but maybe it's just time. I could never get the airbag recall done. No thanks to Liberty GMC nor Ben Minat, from which the car was initially bought.
That's hilarious. It's rare for a car to stay in the same state for that long. Because I think the S2000 was from Pennsylvania, then it went to Georgia, then it went to North Carolina. Now it's in Seattle.
Yeah, that's wild. I think both Tacomas were local as well. I think the second Tacoma was from Ashboro, and the first Tacoma was in Concord initially.
The first Tacoma was 97, right?
Yeah.
Same year as the Jeepster.
Looking back, maybe I should have kept that one.
It did run quite nicely.
Yeah.
Albeit the shifter was a bit sticking a can of paint.
Yeah,
loose.
that's how I described the loaner that Russ had.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't remember mine feeling that wonky, and that was a lower mileage truck.
Right. The Jeep is shockingly tight. Like, you need to feel just how, and it's got the long stick too, you know, just like but it's shockingly still robust. There's a reason you can bolt up the 6-speed transmission.
But
that
those
Mercedes
are made of glass, right?
They are. There's a reason nobody does 6-speed swaps in XJs. It's because the transmission's garbage. The AX15 in mine is awesome.
You couldn't just put a Tacoma 6-speed instead? Or
I'm
how
sure
awkward would that be?
Well, anything's possible with enough money. However, is it worth it?
Yeah.
Let me work it.
So, yeah. Picked up the car, hightailed it over to Metrolina after talking with them and also contacting 4 dealerships trying to see, is there a recall or TSB on any of this? Mm-hmm. Eventually hear back from all 4, and only one's been persistently bothering me. Like, hey, wanted to see about your inquiry. It's like, I was just trying to see about a service thing, and I've got what I need, thanks. Also contacted Evans, to where you took the S2000.
Mm-hmm.
They only do Hondas and Acuras. This being a Toyota product, they wouldn't, but the lady was very informative, trying to hammer out something to help me out.
Yeah.
And contacted LexTech, the local Lexus shop. It was as I was on the way to pick up the car, the guy finally called me back. Mm-hmm. Way to go with your 75-hour return time, bud.
They can't
He left me a message saying, hey, Steve, this is Mike at LexTech. Don't know if I talked to you yet, but give me a call back. Like, about your Corolla. It's like, just that's the easiest way to describe it. It's a Corolla wagon.
Yeah. I mean, the same. Look at the part numbers and see if you can find a different one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was sold 2 years as a Corolla and 1 year as a Scion. Like, it doesn't look like a box. Yeah, not all of them were the initial XB, but that's what always stands out.
Yep. I've heard good things about LexTech. Evans, now that I've had experience with them, they could not be nicer. Like, they were super duper nice. And I was asking them, I was like, just out of curiosity, has the whole COVID thing kind of hurt you guys? And they were like, oh yeah, it's just like, you'd be surprised. Cars don't break if they don't move. Like, that's a good way to put that, actually.
That said, though, Kalen has a CRV.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2016.
Yes.
Typically, your warranty lasts, 3 to 5 years?
Something like that.
So, should she be out of warranty, they're right around the corner.
Yeah, there you go. And it was funny to hear them talking about the S2K when they were doing the PPI. It's like, we ain't seen one night this nice in a while. It's like, yeah, whoever's buying this kit, it's like, look at that paint. I bet you that thing ain't never seen no fucking rain before. He's like, yeah, I bet you're right, man. Sitting there listening.
Nice.
This is fucking hilarious. I haven't heard anything from the buyer of the car yet. Like, I don't know if I assume he's gotten it, because if he hasn't gotten it by 2 weeks to today.
Wow.
So if he hasn't gotten it by now, I mean, something's
I
going
think
on.
Igor took it for a joyride.
I took pictures of him. I got so many pictures. Like he thanks me he's like, you're the most thorough person, because I took pictures of the guy. I took pictures of the truck's license plate, the truck's number, each car that was on there with my car.
Yes, so, the Mazda 2 is a hat, I remember saying.
Yeah. But Steve, you're all fixed up now. They
yes,
took care of you.
So yeah, took it to Metrolina, and they quoted me, it could be anywhere between, well, initially $1,100. Then he calls back the next day. Hey man, I haven't managed to hammer out what's wrong with it, but this could be anywhere between $600 and $2,000 instead of the initial $1,100 estimate. Okay. So getting out of work yesterday, so I had a missed call from him. Give him a call. Car's fixed for $444. They, quote, pulled some strings, I would imagine, find some sort of O-ring assembly and, getting that attached to make it work. Put 100 miles on it since. No more gas smell. No muss, no fuss. Thank you very much, guys. So, for those of you in North Charlotte, do check out Metrolina Tire.
I can't not imagine that they couldn't fix that.
You gotta love a place with a wall of license plates. That's one of my favorite bars in Columbia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad, man. I was honestly, I almost went to the reserve in there and just went, here you go. But I'm so glad it was like not quite as bad as it could have been.
Yesterday's silver linings get a little bit better.
Oh.
My COVID rent check arrived.
I thought you already got it.
Nope. Because I never had direct deposit set up.
Oh, yeah. Emily and I
got the actual
ours.
check.
Yeah.
And wrote on the envelope what it had been. I said, yeah, sorry for grand old partying.
I went to Saucer Monday to pick up more Sixers, and that was in there. Is that good, by the way?
That's good. Yeah, I've actually had this there.
Okay, this is good too. We can switch.
I'm gonna freak everybody out. Like, hey, you want sweat beers?
I mean,
if we haven't given it to each other by now,
yeah,
or more significantly, our significant others that are much higher risks.
Very fair. One more so than the other, but yes, both at significant risk. I went and I was like, I asked Jess. I said, Jess, how are all the girls doing? Because we're at Saucer enough that we pretty much love all the girls minus one that work there. And I was like, how are the girls doing? I was like, because we were going to take one of our COVID checks and just donate it to needy service industry workers. And Jess goes, honey, please don't give money to any of these girls. They all got their unemployment. Every one of them got their unemployment, and then Saucer actually got their small business.
Triple P?
Yeah, they got their. Yeah, so they got it. She goes, so if you're going to donate it, don't donate it to us. We're all okay. I was like, okay, which is a stand-up thing for her to say, because most people could just say, no, we didn't get it. What are you going to give us? Like, I mean, so yet another reason why I love that fucking place, man. I can't wait to go. All right, so the rumor is next Friday they will open it back up.
Ooh.
That's the rumor.
Okay.
And
on that same block yesterday, the grid opened back up, which is strange because the last post they'd had was on the 24th of March.
Yikes.
Right before everything got really clampy.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, yeah, we got all your work from home equipment here. Like, I've been in there, and that's a bit of a bold statement considering the nature of their operation, but work. Work from home. Speaking of, Kaylin is hating it right now. Her bosses are making this incredibly difficult.
I hope she gets out of that fucking place, man. Jesus Christ, man. Well, my raise went through too.
Hey.
So now I'm
on top of the bonus for the whatnot or the extra.
Still got that, and still doing all right. Like, now it's Emmett Smith dollars an hour.
Hey, Emmett Smith now or Emmett Smith then?
Then.
Okay.
That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just be please making a little better than half of that getting back to work next week.
I'm very happy that you're doing that.
The benefits, though, are, amping things up just a little bit. I think it's $20 out of paycheck.
Yeah.
Instead of previous gig, it was 60 or 70 per paycheck.
Yeah.
It had been more money, but there was more overhead.
Yeah. I'm really happy you guys can go back. Like so far, it's back to normal hours next week, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Upon going in the last 2 days, no one said anything otherwise. It's been slow, but this also gives us more time to get the cars ready for.
I'm hot.
I'm comfortable. Do what we want. It's your studio. Do what you want.
We drink more, we'll get warmer.
That
so,
too. Yeah. I did take my niacin to hopefully burn off whatever. So
I need to do that.
Yeah.
I did not feel good last morning we did this, but Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it was a few days later that we picked up some Taxco and killed off a precious little of tequila. Had some Lunazul.
Yeah.
That was delicious.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Put it in a shaker with some ice and probably gave it a good 2-3 ounces per.
Yeah. That tequila, that one's good. And then the tequila we had last week was...
the Espelon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was excellent.
That was delicious if I felt it.
You and me both. So, Emily's like, well, look, she goes, I would be more comfortable with a car than a bike. So if you find something you like, then we,
And
but
it's
by the
also
way,
like she's not going to be in a hurry to ride on the back of a bike either. I'd
no,
imagine.
and I didn't say no because Emily had trepidation about it. It was like I was just like, if I'm not 100% on something, no matter what the cost is, if you're not 100% on it, it's like don't do it. Like just don't do it. This is intriguing though. It's pending sale, but if it falls through,
hey, it's working. All right. Oh hell yeah!
You already know what that is, don't you?
So that would be a JDM Celica GT4, circa 94-95 with the bug eyes.
Yep, which I love, by the way.
Frankly, I go a little bit earlier with the last of the flip tops.
Look how clean.
90 through 93 model I found really pretty, but I also like those.
Well, this one bone stock had 255 horsepower, and it's all-wheel drive.
Could you swap that drivetrain to one of the convertibles? That would be fun.
Yeah, but I just got rid of a convertible because I didn't want one.
Hey, I'm saying what my imaginary car would be.
Okay. Recaro seats, matching.
Lovely.
Good shape. It's so clean.
I was listening to the Ted Gashu smoking tire.
Yeah.
And he's currently stuck in London on a boat on the Thames
I
River.
listened to that one also.
And he went to the Recaro factory.
Nice.
Where they have a museum of every seat they've ever made.
I love that.
So who gets to be the chairman of that board?
The Monopoly man. I love that it's functional. All right. Okay.
But yeah, I was briefly kicking around the idea of picking up a early 90s Celica convertible listed for $1,000.
I've ridden in one. My old college roommate, Eric Bernauer, his parents had one, and we rode around in that a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's functional because the
Tremonium.
intake's right there.
Nice.
Yeah. I think. Or no, that's the... Because the intake's here.
Yeah.
That's got to be to cool the turbo.
Turbo inlet? That must be it.
It's got to cool the... Because it's twin... Those are twin turbo.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's twin turbo, and they run 16 pounds of boost. Oh, yeah.
Is
dude,
that stock?
Yeah.
They had all the cool shit.
2 liter, 250. So I just traded my 240 horsepower naturally aspirated for a 255 horsepower twin turbo 4-cylinder.
And that being a hard type, you don't have to worry about that being such a precious thing.
The bottom's clean. This one is super clean.
Looks like someone's been using Charmin.
Fucking Bears. Bears don't need toilet paper. Stop using Bears for that.
Does it Bear in the Woods?
17.5. It's been...
so that's pending sale.
Yeah,
that's
been
some that's some Carvana shit right there. You'll see something interesting, and it'll have like a little yellow tag on it saying sale pending.
And it was fully resprayed in Toyota. And what color white was that? It was the Toyota white. I don't know what color it was. But
Prussian blue white. It's really white. Oh my!
You ever play Prussian roulette? There's the title. Well, what kind of idea is that?
I like that a lot.
Yeah, because I don't want if I wanted all-out speed, if I just wanted to go fast in a straight line, I would get a Fox body Mustang, gut it, and build the biggest, baddest V8 possible and just take it down the drag strip. If I want to have as much fun at autocross as possible, I get a beater S2000 or a Miata, and I do that. And the Evoras are still more than I want to spend. I don't want a Corvette. I mean, I wouldn't mind. It'd be fun to drive, but I just don't want one. Vipers would be fun to have, but not fun to drive. Mm-hmm. Fun to look at, not fun to drive.
What, Jeremy Clarkson calling it the axe murderer?
Yes. That would be very fun. People who knew what it was would like it, and people who didn't know what it was would wonder why I'm on the wrong side of the car.
Yeah, you'd be left the hell alone because it just looks like an old Celica.
Yep, and then you do intake, header, exhaust, and pump the boost up a little bit, and then Mr. Johnny GT Mustang is merging on the highway, and you just and hardly make any noise. That'd be fun. That's getting strong consideration, but I'm not in the hurry to replace.
How difficult would it be to resell a right-hand drive car after you give this thing a couple of years and move on to the next thing?
That's a valiant and very, very logical point of view.
It's it's currently $18,000, and I know I never buy my cars for resale value because everything short of hell, even took quite the dive on the 07 Tacoma, but everything else has just plummeted.
Yeah,
but also dealer trade-ins notwithstanding. But yeah, not having to deal with a private buyer either is worth something. But taking a total bath on the Camry or the Vibe, that stung.
I would absolutely consider that purple Evora I sent. That was so cool because it was. I like purple. The thing is, it's not an Evora S. It's not the supercharged one. And I can't...
How difficult is that to retrofit?
It's not worth it. You'd just be better off buying the... Because it's the same engine and such, but finding somebody to... I could theoretically do it, but then you have to tune it because it's a completely... I think the ECU, the mapping is completely... Because it's a new car. It's not like taking a car from 89 and putting the turbo on it, and then it's completely different.
Only supercharged car from 89, you got to worry about the T-Bird, man. Them Superbirds.
Steve, we got to get to beer news, but also I have some car trivia that my father-in-law sent, and it's actually pretty interesting.
What's Ken got for you?
But we'll do beer news first. So, let's see. Agent.
Oh, we actually had a Fiat roll through the line the other day.
Did you think about him?
Yes. 2, at 12,000 miles, the driver's seat was destroyed. What?
Really?
The hell? Yeah. Now, other than that, the car was in fantastic shape, but the outer bolster looked like hot garbage.
Wait, it says... Continue to sign into Gmail, and I put my Gmail in, and then it wants to send me a recovery because it's not the... Oh, okay, here it is. Sorry. I thought it was going to make me like, this is not your regular computer. Would you like to blah, 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 blah?
Some delusions of grandeur. That said, it did get worked out of my account. Locked out of my work account the other day trying to access it. Like,
Google, can you use this?
I think by the end of yesterday, I did have time to mess with it, but I was like, I'm just going to get something else done.
Yeah, it's like if I type the same password, if I type the right password in twice in a row, all right, it took it this time. New device signed into AJT Holt. Yeah, I know. Woo-hoo. I fucking did it. It's it's like 16 letter number and symbol password that I know and I've just memorized. That you'd be very hard pressed. We got to do beer news, Steve. Then we'll get to that.
What the hell kind of password is beer news, Steve?
I said it was the Steve with a dollar sign. But that's like the
down.
dude.
Let's make it 573V3
Niner. Tommy boy.
There a Niner in there.
You talking from walkie-talkie. All right, beer news, Steve. In Piqua Township, a local Pennsylvania couple save a dozen ducklings, and because of the hubbub that they generated on social media, they received 15 free cases of Yingling for their troubles.
Wow.
I will save ducklings for 15 cases. Yinglings,
I will kidnap ducklings.
I will sesame ducklings.
Ooh. So, any word on if and when New Asia's opening back up?
God, I don't know, but that place is so fucking rad, man.
Ooh.
They have
Does your grill support rotisserie?
Yes.
Because I've got one on mine.
Oh, wait, grill?
Like a rotisserie, like on over a propane grill.
I don't know, but my grill gets so hot that...
I finally replaced the temperature indicator on the lid.
Yeah, yeah.
My grill can do 620.
I don't have a temperature...
My digital thermometers cap out at 500. Actually melted the wire on one of them.
I don't have a...
Look at this. From this reset itself.
What the kittens? Without even doing anything. Steve, how do you do it?
I think this phone's operating on sheer hatred right now.
Well, I told you my phone was not doing... it will not get an MMS message. So if you send me a message or anybody sends me a link or a... So
you didn't see my gas mileage getting back yesterday?
I did, but if you... Like, I will send... Like, I'll get it, but I have to just sign off of Wi-Fi. Which is fine. I mean, it's really shitty that I have to do that, but I'm gonna see what happens when I have a software update. I don't want to hard reset the phone. Yeah. So when
then you just lose everything. And there's always gonna be something you didn't get, and it's gonna really bite at you.
So I'm just gonna wait, and if it does it after the next software update, which I guess are quarterly, like it seems like there's like 3 or 4 a year.
I haven't had to update this one lately, but after a while, they give up on old phones, too.
Gotcha.
This is a Note 4. I picked it up February of 17, and now we are 3 years and 3 months later. It's not seen an update in a while, but it's just timed out.
I had... This one so far has done... That one so far has done 3... And like it was 1 the first 6 months, and then 2 in like 4 and 2 in 2 months. So I'll just wait, and if it doesn't do it after that, I'll figure it out.
What's that? A Samsung you've got?
Yeah, that's a Galaxy S8. Emily's got a 9.
Okay, I remember when she got the 6.
Yeah,
I would very much like another Note. I really enjoy making calligraphy super easy with the stylus on this thing.
Yes, you did. I did like that. Calligraphy.
My calligraph.
Calligraph. the failed Def Leppard song. Oh, Jesus. While you're doing that, Steve, Untapped will hold its next festival online. Attendees will receive 11 craft beers for coordinated virtual tastings. That doesn't sound very fun, if I'm honest.
No.
Especially since you don't get to pick the beers.
What do they do? Just mail everybody the beer?
Yeah. You sign up, you pay, and then they send you like 11 different beers, which if they're sending that much of it, there's not going to be anything that's rare or interesting. I like it. I like that. If they're going to send that many people beer, you're not going to get anything cool. You're going to get like...
Yeah.
Oh my God, they should do the biggest epic troll and just send them like MGD, Bud Light,
wow.
Bud Light Lime.
I didn't make it into the beer portion of State Line Elite earlier.
Yes.
But I was most impressed with the liquor half of it.
I didn't know that they... Well, I guess I should have figured out. I thought it was just like a liquor-based...
It's apparently half and half, and considering the rules of the Carolinas, you can do beer and wine or do liquor, but it was funny that the liquor portion also had sake. It also had port, wine derivatives there.
They have sake at Total Wine in North Carolina also.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And sake good.
Sake, the Fuji apple sake is to die for. We might have some downstairs. I cannot text Emily to find out. If only you had her number.
Yep.
Steve, Covina Charter School.
Before you did.
You did. Covina Charter School, which is hilarious considering what's going on now, of Los Angeles. The president, Brian Akers, is under fire for drinking a Pacifica during a Zoom meeting for all the school superintendents.
What, you wanted them to drink a Corona instead?
Well, here's the thing.
Have you considered the wonders of, beer in a coffee mug is still beer, but it doesn't look the part?
There should be no outrage because he's not around students. He's at his home. They're on a Zoom call, which was, I imagine, probably a conference call of some sort, and I've been on hundreds of conference calls in my life, and not one of them I thought was absolutely necessary. You could have sent this in an email, and we would have been okay. So instead of sending this email I could have read in 30 seconds, you insisted on me being on this conference call for an hour.
All right. Ask her about Fuji apple sake.
See if we got any down. Yeah, we might have some downstairs, but I don't know. By the way, it is. I'm trying to be more cognizant of my movements because rewatching our live videos, I cannot sit still. I look like a meth head. I can't sit still. So I'm trying to be a little more calm, but it's not in my nature. I really hope we have that Fuji apple sake. Steve, next. Oregon's Rusty Truck Brewing Company, rather than throwing away their beer that is going to spoil and they're going to take the loss, they are giving it away to the local people of the city.
Ooh.
So bravo to you. I've never been to Portland. Have you?
Negative.
I have. This didn't say Portland, but I can't name any other city in Oregon. So
Eugene, Salem. That's about it.
You got two more than I got.
It's for what it's worth. Everyone knows of Portland, but the rest of the state is huge. Not nearly as interesting as the coast, but the rest of the state's huge. Much like Washington, you've got Seattle, and then a whole lot of the rest of the state.
So the capital,
and the closer to Idaho you get, the more Idaho-ish it gets.
Oh yes. So the capital of Washington State is. That's all I need.
Think ancient sporting event.
Oh my God. Olympia.
Yep.
All right. Steve, I'm going to make you guess these because it's going to be more fun. In 2019, the top 10 bourbons that were for sale, or not for sale. So in 2019, by dollar, God damn it. Take two. In 2019, these 10 bourbons were the top 10 grossing per dollar. So, what you got?
Pappy Blanton's.
No. Because that's more rare. So this is more of by sales number.
Oh, so you're Jimmy, John, James, George, and Evan.
You got Evan. You said Jim, right?
Uh-huh.
What else did you say?
Let's see. Jim Beam,
Jim Beam,
Daniels,
and Evan Williams. You got Jack Daniels.
George,
That's
George Dickel.
Dickel's not on here.
There goes one of Dad's favorites.
Oh, you said Buffalo Trace, didn't you?
Not yet.
No, I thought you said
Blanton's.
Blanton's
so by proxy.
So Buffalo Trace is on there. You have 6 left. Wait, you said Bullet too, didn't you?
No.
I keep hearing B's. Bullet's on there. God damn it! This is not fun. If I make you, you have 5 left, and you should get 4 out of 5 of these. One you probably not. The one you probably not is Basil Hayden.
Okay.
Yeah, Basil Hayden you're not going to get. The other 4 are very well known bourbons, and you should get them. Hi, my name is what? My name is. If I were an M&M, I would be a blank blank. M and M.
Maker's Mark.
Mark.
My brother-in-law is one of their ambassadors and gets all sorts of random swag from them.
Very nice. I was trying to be Steve-like cryptic.
It worked.
One you liked but said it really burned and bit back. It's 1/3 of a dozen.
4 Roses?
Yep.
No,
that's
couldn't
one.
say I liked it that much.
Gotcha.
It just tastes like paint thinner.
This one is what trees are made of.
Wood Ridge. Woodford.
Woodford Reserve.
Because I keep thinking that sounds like a wine instead of a whiskey.
Well, Bullet was number one. That was the number one seller by bottle.
Number one with a bullet.
Yeah, but you already have another one. Like the last one that you have to guess is a slang term for male genitalia in the United Kingdom.
Bollocks.
What's on that door?
Knob Creek.
Knob. Yeah. Knob Creek. That was the top 10 bourbons in 2019.
I like this game. I can't name anything, but the hints are worthwhile. Nice to see it rubbing off on you.
You're welcome.
From not quite proper social distance.
You might be the first person I've touched other than Emily in the last 2 months.
Oh my.
Yes. That's all I got, Steve. So now that we're on that kind of trivia, do you want to do the car trivia and then go into cars and then into the music we got?
Sure.
Remember that?
Yes.
Music last.
Okay.
That worked for you?
Yeah, seeing as once the years no longer contain nines, I can't help you.
Do you want to try this before we go on to the next? By the way, the next one I want to be the brewery's white chocolate because I've been wanting to drink that for a while, but I want to share it with somebody because it's 15%. And it's a tall boy can. So,
hey, we got nowhere to be tomorrow.
I don't now.
That's why I said that.
Yeah, that's like the bike was $5,000. Tax tag and title $500. Helmet, shoes, gloves, and jacket. That's at bare minimum $500. So that's $6,000. Like, do I $6,000 want it? Currently, I'm like, I don't know. And that's what I couldn't say yes, I couldn't say no. So before car trivia, let's do the brew. All right. I'll go get that, I guess. Or you want to get it?
I am closer.
I'll get the next one.
All right.
Although I picked that one, so I'll get it. I picked it, I'll get it. It's not like it's gonna be used to. We're not like we had to go downstairs and get stuff or bring an ice chest up here. Tell them about it.
All right, what we have here is from the Brewery white chocolate, ale aged in bourbon barrels with cacao nibs and vanilla beans. Alcohol 14.8, 1 pint.
Yep. I wanted to enjoy it with someone else, so I could enjoy it by myself all day long. I would just rather enjoy it with someone else.
We're someone else.
Oh, shucks.
The seafood joint in Charleston, to which, like, today we would have been in Charleston, except, something really difficult about Kalen's West Coast cousins not being able to make the trip as well. That was the whole point of it.
I'd be in Toronto right now. Or as they say, when you're a local... Toronto.
That's...
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard that the second T goes bye-bye.
It can, but like they don't say Toronto. It's Toronto.
Toronto?
Toronto. That's right. Toronto. If you're from Toronto, you say Toronto.
Toronto.
Because if you're Toronto, you're...
My Corolla's not a Truno.
My Corolla.
I've been looking at vintage Toyota Corona badging.
Yes.
The C with the star.
Is that what you're going to do?
Really cool. It's an update on that theme.
Nice.
And I was like, well, now I have a little bit more money to play with. Who am I kidding? I don't. But it's something to that effect. It would be shipped from Japan. The last thing I ordered from Japan a month later still hasn't showed up because it's a shrunken keychain Oris in red.
Yes.
And the guy had emailed me twice saying, "I'm terribly sorry that this is taking so long." As long as it's out of your hands, it's okay.
Steve,
so it's probably completely unimportant.
You want to explain to everybody what your favorite color is?
What, green? Green and red. It's like, for what it's worth.
Christmas?
Yeah, I was born on Thanksgiving. But, yeah, I'm really keen on orange and brown.
But said nobody unless you're a Cleveland fan.
Yeah. And even then.
Yeah.
So what we have here is a tasteful treatment of cacao nibs and hand-prepared vanilla beans. Wait a minute. Aboard the golden waves of the sweet wine-style ale, subtle savoriness reminiscent of white chocolate, characters of coconut, honey, caramel, and vanilla intertwine, inert wine seamlessly in this bourbon barrel-aged treat, which is real funny the way that the last sentences are phrased. You've got to Shatner it.
I'm not sure I like it.
Just to make everything fit in the box.
Even the Richard? It's a Richard in a box. We got to have some of that now. I'm out too.
I'm the Richard in the box.
That was a good. We didn't peak though. These microphones aren't as hot as the other ones, so they kind of record at a lower level, which honestly is okay with me. I've never had this one before, but the brewery does excellent beer. I would say the brewery and Southern Tier do dessert beer. I mean, they're 1A, 1B. I hate when people say 1 and 1A. I'm like, no, it's 1A, 1B. Don't, whatever. That's quite a bit brighter than I thought it would be at 14.8%. Holy, it smells like it's 14.8%.
That's why it's the white chocolate.
Smell it first. Oh my God, yes.
I like the way this looks.
Guarantee it. Holy hell, that's good. It's, woo. That's hairy. The brewery's New
Placentia, California.
Cali. Okay.
I was going to guess upstate New York, and hey.
I was thinking New York also, so you're in good hands
No,
with Allstate.
especially with the Southern Tier dessert beer.
For sure.
Comparo.
So car trivia, Steve. My once again, my father-in-law sent me this, and it was pretty interesting. There was a lot of cars that had wood on them at the first, and he's like, they were automobiles back then, not just appliance cars. They were after style, not whatever it is now. So, in 1913, in what city was the first drive-in gas station? So you drove up and got gas at a gas station. 1913, what city?
Detroit.
It's the same latitude-ish. Pittsburgh. I would have guessed Detroit.
Making those lakes great again, huh?
What city was the first to use parking meters?
New York.
Nope, but this city was the bomb in 1995.
Oklahoma City.
Thank you for picking up the horrible shit that I'm putting down. True or false? In 1953, you could get a Corvette in white, red, or black.
White with red interior.
Exterior color only. So true or false, you could get a Corvette in 53 in white, red, or black.
White.
White only? It is false. It was polo white. Is the only color you could get it in.
I said white.
You did. I said you got it right.
Oh.
Yeah, you got it right. You could only get it in white. And
yeah, I think the first 300 were white with red interiors. Because as much as you don't like them, RCR had a 53 Vet on. It's like it's hardly a sports car, especially by today's standards, but just look at it.
It's gorgeous.
That said, I'd rather a 58 or 60, like the later C1s with the 4 eyes.
Yep.
Buddy of mine in Greensboro acquired his dad's, and I haven't seen that car since the 90s.
What was the first car fitted with an alternator rather than a direct current dynamo?
Maybe I thought it was the generator.
I'll give you a hint. It was from the Chrysler and Dodge Corporation.
A DeSoto.
A Plymouth Valiant.
So that would have been in the 60s?
1960.
Huh.
First one with an alternator. That's kind of neat, actually. Here's a good one. What was the first car fitted with a replaceable cartridge oil filter?
Instead of what?
I don't know. No oil filter at all, I guess. It's just an interesting.
VW Bug.
Nope. 1924 Chrysler.
Wow.
Like a paddy wagon thing.
Innovative. Them Chrysler boys.
The first car to be offered with a perpetual guarantee, quote unquote, was the 1904 Acme.
Goodness. Those dead brands I really can't help you with. Never mind, I'm on my second, but are they really dead?
Says perpetuity was disturbing in this case, as Acme closed down in 1911.
For what it's worth, you've got 7 years out of it. Like, just think, like, was it transferable? Does anybody still have one of these cars with one of these, perpetual warranties intact? And just think of it. You've seen Roadrunner and Coyote cartoons.
Plenty.
And, if that taught us anything, do not buy anything from Acme.
Nope. It'd be easier to. I'll ask you the answer, and I'll tell it. This is going to make more sense in a second. In 1904, Thomas Flyer, his brother Radio, had the first version of this type of car, and it had a removable hardtop
convertible.
Yep, 1904, the first removable hardtop.
I think some of the even earlier cars were convertibles, but didn't have any sort of roof.
That was harder to ask that question than it was.
Okay.
I'll just keep doing it.
Sure.
All right, so I'll give you the year. That way you'll kind of have an idea. So, what car was the first car to have its radio antenna embedded in the windshield? This is in the 60s.
Wow. I was thinking that was all the rage with the Dustbuster GM vans of the early 90s.
You've owned one type of this, one model of this car. You've owned
Volvo.
No. American.
Pontiac?
Yep.
A Pontiac what? A
Grand
Tempest?
Prix.
Oh, wow.
Yep, the Grand Prix. That's incredible, and that in 1969 they had the technology to do that.
Uh-huh.
That's remarkable.
I would hope that on the other end it would have had a wired heated windshield. Just like about everything does. And it was only on my first Volvo that I noticed the heating elements were more closely spaced, very fine lines, instead of usually it's like the
straight,
quarter-inch copper bars about an inch apart. This had the same thing, but done much tighter.
Gotcha.
And probably much more expensively.
Because Germany.
Sweden.
That's right. God damn it.
Oddly enough, that car was old enough to have components that were made in West Germany. It was an October 89 car.
I don't know what. I know Volvo's in Sweden. I'm using the metric system today. Where was the world's first multicolor traffic light installed?
Sweden.
Detroit. In 1919. 2 years later, they experimented with synchronized lights. Don't know what that is.
In theory, that is if you're going 40 miles an hour down the road, at least one of the directions going down the road, you hit your green light, and before the next light turns, it'll turn green before you hit that next red light.
Okay.
I think that should be it. It's a lovely idea when it works, and often they get out of sync and your brakes are shot.
You left this pen last time, and now I'm using it.
Okay.
It goes with your shirt and watch.
It's not a touchscreen pen, so I don't care.
How do you know?
It doesn't have the rubber nib on the top.
Well, it might be one of those Men in Black pens that...
that remember to forget ones.
All right.
It's nice, but that was stolen then, and now it's been restolen. I have no regrets.
This is cool because this car has two distinctions. Which car was General Motors' 100 millionth car built in the U.S., and consequently was also their first front-wheel drive car?
Toronado.
The Toronado, 1966.
With the barrel speedometer.
Yep, and in that color blue... Mighty fine looking.
I don't even care what color it is. I like those.
Yeah, I do too. That's cool.
Monster front drive V8, automatic only, but I'm willing to make an exception. That is a sick automobile.
Where was
and its Riviera counterpart doesn't suck either.
Not at all. The first drive-in movie theater opened. Where and when? So this is in a state where I can't think of anything I would want to do in it.
Kansas.
And, I mean, I would also yes, but no. I think Northeast.
Connecticut.
New Jersey. Connecticut has a casino.
Ah.
The third largest casino in the world, actually.
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Camden, New Jersey in 1933 was the first drive-in movie theater.
It was like, well, they had the drive-in theater Marty crashes into in the third Back to the Future, so they should have had those by 1955 in the completely fabricated reality that movie was.
Which autos were the first? Well, you're not going to guess. So the autos that were the first to use the standardized production key start system were 1949 Chryslers. A lot of Chrysler Dodge products.
Sure enough.
On here. What
did you do beforehand? Cross the wires? Was you the flathead?
No, the crank.
Yikes! I've never had the pleasure of operating such a thing. How about you?
Me either. Bad way to start a car. Worst movie. Better
by
Comedy
the way,
Central show.
This car really helps me. This car really hates when I roll start it.
The Jeep will
it'll briefly have this message of like low voltage error or something, but it will kick on. It's like good. Stick shift's gonna stick shift.
Yes, it is. Steve, what did the Olds designation of 442 stand for?
4 speeds, 4 barrels, 2-wheel drive.
2 out of 3 ain't bad, said Meatloaf. It was 4-barrel carb, 4-speed trans, and dual exhaust.
Huh. All right.
That's a lot lamer than you. the last 2 that could have.
For being a bunch of numbers, it sounds cool.
It could have been 2-wheel drive too. I mean, because they didn't make an all-wheel drive.
Probably not till Bravada.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Then it was just a rebadged Chevy MC.
What was the first car to place the horn button in the center of the steering wheel? And I didn't even know this was a thing, but the 1915 Scripps Booth Model C. That doesn't?
I'm sure you've had a couple of cars that had the airbag, but had the buttons for the horn. But both the Volvos had that.
Civic did. My Civic had horn buttons.
Huh.
98. That's interesting, actually. Yeah, all the Civics of what was that? The 4th gens.
There have been so many by then. Somewhere up there.
Which American?
And there have been many since.
True. Which American car has simultaneously appeared on the cover of Time and Newsweek in the same issue?
Bet.
You're close. It's another American icon.
Mustang.
There you go. That's all I got. There was some interesting questions on there. Actually, I told him, I was like, hey, if you ever find anything like that, send it over. We'll pot it up.
That's cool.
Yep. Do you want to keep on going with car related stuff, or do you want to go with music?
Car stuff, sure.
So we want to do something with Aston Martin. We already did we've done Jag.
Mm-hmm.
We've done Alfa Romeo. You know, it's funny. We've done the history of several different car brands or such, but we've definitely got Aston Martin today. What was I assume yours, like everybody else's introduction to Aston Martin, was
James Bond.
Because he had the Aston even in the first one, right?
I think it was by the second one that the DB5 made an appearance. He had a Sunbeam Tiger in Dr. No.
Dr. No was the first one, right?
Yeah.
I'm not up on my Bond trivia.
It's all right, and I'm not 100% on this either, but we don't have angry viewers, so who cares?
Unless you talk about rotaries.
If you like them so much, why don't you drive one?
Oh my God.
I'm going to join an old man civic organization. I'm going to become a Rotarian.
Somebody on social media has already bought a wrecked C8 Vet and is going to 3-rotor swap it. I don't know why, but...
Because you can.
Yeah, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. So, Steve, You got Aston Martin pulled up?
No, I totally opened up Firefox and forgot what I was doing.
When was Aston Martin founded?
52.
1913.
I was way off.
I would have been way off. I would have guessed 50s also. 50s or 60s.
Thinking of the Petrolicious when they've got the DB2 that, surprise, looks a lot like a DB5 or DB6.
They all are evolution. Not like 911.
Yeah, but there's definitely the DNA is strong with that one.
Yes.
Whereas luckily the RS does not look like the Matrix before it. That second-gen Matrix is special kind of ugly.
Yeah. Aston Martin Lagonda Global Holdings PLC is a British independent manufacturer of luxury sports cars and grand tours. Founded in 1913 by Lionel Martin and Robert Bamford. Where did they get Aston?
Could have been Bamford Martin. That actually has a nice ring to it.
Bamford Martin. It does. But Lionel Robert sounds like...
And Martin, or Bamford is also one of my favorite comedians.
Well, Lionel Robert sounds like your twice divorced uncle who delivers pizza. Steered from 1947 by David Brown.
Which is why the cars are mostly named DB.
It's funny about how that, isn't it? Became associated with expensive grand touring cars in the 50s and 60s, with James Bond using a DB5 in the movie Goldfinger.
Fun fact, in the books, he drove a Bentley.
No shit.
Because they were written in the 50s, he was driving a 33 Bentley.
That was when the engines were the size of houses, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Therefore, so was a car.
That's also fair. And as heavy as a house.
Uh-huh.
Aston Martin has held a royal warrant as purveyor of motor cars to the Prince of Wales since 1982. That's hilarious.
So does that mean that he would have had one of those Aston Mustangs?
Yes.
Which was gorgeous in Dalton's first one.
He had two, right?
We had two movies, yes. Mm-hmm. In the second movie, I only remember him driving a Lincoln Mark 7.
Yikes.
Here's the attainable Bond car, much like Daniel Craig's Fusion in Casino Royale.
Here's a fun fact, Steve. In 2003, Aston Martin received the Queen's Award for Enterprise for outstanding contribution to international trade. However, the company has gone bankrupt 7 times.
Did you also happen to hear that Aston's stock value is currently in the toilet?
Yep. Can't imagine why. They make great cars, but it's British reliability, and you know what? Just make the styling.
Yeah.
Leave everything, put a
Lotus it.
Lotus it now. Don't.
Yes.
Although the Esprit twin turbo V8 is a bucket list car for me. I raced one in my Starion, and he destroyed me. It was fun though. He gave me a thumbs up. Gave him a thumbs up. I love those cars. Would never own one because
Englishish.
Because English. It'd be like owning
how much for a 4-cylinder one?
Fuck no.
It's like, but that would be a different Bond car.
To borrow a line,
Roger Moore in '77.
To borrow a line from our buddy Zach from the Smoking Tire, owning a European car is like leasing a loaner.
Specifically, the Aston Julia, Alpha Julia, Derp.
Aston
that said,
Julia. Hey, I just British motor swapped my Italian car.
Yikes! Oddly enough, yesterday we had two Stelvios go through yesterday.
No, Jag V12 swapped Julia. That's the project.
Ooh,
that's the project.
Even buying your motor oil at Costco still won't save you from that one.
What do you need? 24 quarts of oil for a Julia. Didn't they come with a 4-cylinder stock? Yes, they did. Aston Martin operates on 3 different sites. 22-acre facility in Gaydon, Warwickshire. Gaydon. Gaydon. Gaydon.
They totally missed the boat and named the town Gaydar, didn't they?
It missed. And then on a site of a former RAF V bomber airbase alongside one of Jaguar Land Rover development centers. 36 hectare, which is 90-acre factory in Wales.
Hey, you know what unit of measurement I never use? The hectare.
Yeah. Evidently, and the other one was in Newport Pagnell. So they got different things. Can't imagine why they've gone bankrupt 7 fucking times.
That's a lot of real estate for such low volume.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot here, but like there it is. Aston Martin began to build the classic DB series of cars in honor of David Brown.
Well, the Newport Pagnell also serves as home of the Aston Martin Works classic car development. Interesting. So if you could make your DB5 handle like a DB11,
Resto mods are the way to go, because if I've driven an old car, my Dodge truck was an old car. It drove like an old car. And when I learned to drive on that car, I thought every car, the steering was like this. So this was normal to me. So when I got in a car that had normal steering...
Was that ever introduced to you as playing the wheel?
Yeah. He goes, there's a little bit of play in the steering. By the way, my dad's telling me this while he has a beer in his hand and I'm 6 years old in his lap steering the fucking truck. But, hi, Pops and Moms. But... Like a little play in the steering wheel, so just make sure you don't fight it too much and just kind of let it go. Okay, and I thought that was normal. And then I get in a car with power steering. I'm like, what? Why is it so tight? I thought every car handled like a boat.
Yeah, I was introduced to that concept from my buddy's brother's CJ5 Jeep.
Yikes!
And this is probably one of the earliest, lifted Jeeps I had ever encountered, with one of those really tiny aftermarket wheels with the 3 spokes, with the 3 holes, Swiss cheese look, kind of a Mercedes emblem looking steering wheel in it. Yep. Something that was all the rage in the late 80s to affix.
Much like T grip handles in Mustangs Camaros from mid 90s to early aughts.
And prior to that, they have 60s, 70s Charlengers.
That's true too.
Was that the Hurst shifter? Or just the worst shifter?
On the way home yesterday.
I like my ball.
You like
your ball.
On the way home yesterday.
You want to touch my ball? Shifter?
I was on Independence and witnessed multiple pulls of Charger, was it 492? Not the Hellcat, but the 492.
The 492 sounds right.
Yep, the Charger and Mustang Roush. And listened and watched multiple runs of that going down Independence. By the way,
that tire shop I went to today, in the parking lot were 2 Challengers and a recent model Camaro. So I don't know what these kids are doing, but I think they're doing okay. Or at least their credit score is.
Fair. 72 to 75, Aston Martin was often financially troubled. Yep, I believe that. It stopped the company's U.S. sales, again pulling Aston Martin into receivership at the end of 74. The company had employed 460 workers when that plant closed. But they had the DB3 up in 58, and even Wikipedia is jumping around a little bit.
I don't know where you are reading the same thing.
I'm at 81 to 91. When Alan Curtis and Peter Sprague announced they never intended to maintain a long-term financial stake in Aston Martin Lagonda. We would have been better off just discussing the models.
Yep. Yeah, the business end of this is kind of dull and kind of checkered.
Here we go. All the way down at the bottom. Post-war sports and GT cars. Because you had...
you didn't want to go through the 91 through 07 with FOMOCO? Which is how and why, if you want to fix up your V8 Vantage, you buy yourself the Ford F-250 fuel pump for $200 instead of the Aston part for $3,000.
When was this?
That'll be somewhere in the FOMOCO. So the 91 through 07.
That's right, it was. But unfortunately, after 07, the V8 Vantages got a bump in power to 420 instead of 385.
So I think it was also going from the 4.3 to the 4.7. V8.
Preston's trying to talk me into an Evora over. He's like, I don't see you getting out of an Aston. I don't see you getting out of a Vet. I see you getting out of the Evora. I'm like, God damn it. But it's a 4-seater, and I can't have a 4-seater toy.
That's not much of a... Those third and fourth seats don't amount to a seat, dude.
Very true. Have you heard of Mark Normand?
Yeah, the comedian.
Oh my God, he's hilarious.
Yep.
Oh my God. His mannerisms remind me kind of yours.
Interesting.
Everybody tells me, hey man, you got to have more confidence, and hey, be yourself. I'm like, hey, I can only do one of those.
Yeah. That also reminds me of someone on some Bob and Tom thing I heard 15 years ago. Like, yeah, like going out dating. Relax. Be yourself. Well, what do you want me to do?
They asked, I forgot, he was on Fighter, and the kid is like, you watch porn? He goes, like, yeah, porn's like my coffee. Just like my coffee, I have to have it black.
I've got to have mine creamy.
Ooh. So, yeah, you could get... sometimes your fuel pump in your F-150 and sometimes your fuel pump in your Aston Martin was the same fuel pump for several years, actually, which is interesting. So always bring your part number. Always research that, because now they can't dick you around on that. Got a little bit left.
Cool.
This was really good. And I'm glad I don't have anywhere to be tomorrow. It would have sucked getting up at 7:30 and driving to Thomasville.
After this, forget it.
Yeah. And then I honestly thought I was going to ride it home at one point. Emily was going to drive me up there, and I was going to ride it home. A bike I'd never ridden. That I just bought.
Over a generous span of time and space.
Hour and 15 minutes. That I don't have insurance on, and I have not registered. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, I already had insurance settled on the car when I picked it up. It was just a matter of calling my sister who works in insurance. All right, we have the car.
Yeah. Steve, we've had DBs. We've had the DB1, which I can only imagine what that goes for at auction. DB2, and then the DB2/4. But then for some reason, in 57 to 59, they had the DB Mark III. And it was the only one that had a mark in front of it.
That's a very Britishism to do, though, to name stuff Mark. Even if it's not actually in it, it's going to be Mark.
Yep. And then we went straight to the DB4, DB5, the 6. There is no 7 listed. It goes straight to 8.
The DB7 was the one that shared the platform with the Jag XK in the mid-90s. And you could drive the Aston, that said Aston, on the first Gran Turismo.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to like that car in that game. I wanted to very much. It sucked.
It sucked in the game.
It really sucked. It's like, I just have to go, much like reality, just go all Japanese with that one.
Yeah, it's good to look at.
Uh-huh.
They didn't start to get really...
pixels and all.
They didn't start to get really good to
the mid-aughts.
Drive to the mid-aughts, yeah.
I did get to drive a V8 Vantage at Capitol. It was a stick.
How was it?
I really like that car.
That's strong. I know Preston said he doesn't see me getting out of an ass. What could you see me getting out of a V8 Vantage?
Totally.
In white, bronze wheels.
The one I drove was black with gunmetals.
Well, a good rule of
thumb. But I think it's also a matter of should you be able to find one you could afford? How difficult is repainting or suffering through whatever color it is? No, it's not snot green. That was the hard stop for the Vibe and its replacement. Mm-hmm. Just I don't want the green, because forest green died somewhere in there, and that was a lovely color.
It was.
Nothing is anymore.
Yeah, that's most Astons you find are either going to be that gunmetal color.
I'm going to say gray silver.
Gray silver, black, sometimes white, British racing green. That's about it. So if you find an Aston in a different color, hell, go ahead and buy it. So there's a buyer for everybody. Because I don't like silver cars, even though I owned one for 7 years. And it wasn't the most desired. The most desirable color for S2000 is Grand Prix white. Yet I found a buyer for mine. There's a buyer for everybody.
Well, I don't think there's any color on an S2000 that's going to really turn people off. It's not like
Suzuka blue people don't like.
It's not like, oh yes, here's your snot green S2000, or here's your pale orange S2000, or here's your baby girl pink S2000, or the awful driver thereof.
The problem with the Suzuka Blue S2000s is it had the blue interior also, and it was just a little too much.
A little too depressing.
Well, only because after time, Honda is one of my favorite manufacturers, but after time, a little over time, every color of blue was a different color blue.
And all the different services, all the different materials are fading unevenly, you say.
Yep. So the dash was a different color blue than the seats, was a different color than the carpet, was a different color than the transmission tunnel, was a different color than the plastic roll hoops.
What's fun about a black interior? It may fade, but, the shades of gray just don't matter. It all just kind of goes.
Unless there are 50 of them.
Ayo. Kinky.
Yes. We went all the way to...
I don't see what shitty not quite porn has to do with any of this.
Yeah, really. Like, if you're going to do porn, just watch porn. Don't read it. It's gay. It's not gay. Whatever. You had V8 Vantage from 77 to 89, and the Zagato.
And that would be the beloved Aston Mustang.
For sure. So that was sports and GT
Which is
cars.
funny because that was... after the first-gen Mustang to look just like a first-gen Mustang.
They made the Lagonda from 76 to 89.
And we discussed that on here upon a time, and that's such a wonderfully weird, I'd never say attractive thing.
I'm thinking...
that's what you need to get. Find yourself a 4-speed stick Lagonda. And because it's an Aston Martin, it's still going to cost more than an Evora.
Jesus Christ.
That's so dumb.
Honestly, if I could find a white V12 Vantage for under $40,000, I would be okay with having that. And
are you going to find one with a leaky O-ring as well? That'd be amazing.
The problem with that is the only thing I would do to it would be engines. You'd be done with it. Exterior-wise, it's done. You don't need to do anything. So it would be like exhaust. Like you couldn't do anything to it. It'd just be like a GT, a good crew. Like, and I'm a you know me. I'm a tinkerer. I like to mess with stuff.
And that's when a turboed whatever have you really lends itself.
Celica.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so cool, though.
Did you see someone is parting with a Mark III Supra?
Yeah, but. I mean, I already had...
It's not your thing. You already had your 80s slant nose thing.
I did. I think... It was like, Brett tried to get me. He messaged me. He's like, why don't you get another story? I was like, can't get back with an ex-girlfriend. I'm a little sad, but I'm also kind of happy I'm not committed to getting the bike now. I like it, but I don't love it. I don't have to have it.
Yeah.
I was committed with the S2K.
Well, to tell you... the only reasoning I had for looking into a motorcycle 15 years ago, parking at NC State, because it sucks there. Then it was, particularly there that they have this campus that started in the 1880s and just build everything around that.
So we had the Aston Martin Virage, and we talked about the Vantage, but then I think one of the best names for any car ever came in 2001 was the Aston Martin
Velar. Yabiga.
Vanquish. The Vanquish. That's such a cool name.
Which the year after it appeared in the Bond film of 2002, Die Another Day.
Yep.
The movie's hot garbage, but in there they have one that Q calls the Vanish. Because it's able to camouflage itself into its environment.
That's if you can.
Oh, John Cleese, you rascal!
You can send your Vanquish to Aston Martin, and they will manual transmission swap it, and then send it back to you.
I think what Farah has a V12 DB9 that he did that, and the difference was night and day. Since we're already anti-automatic here, but
we are.
In particular, that cruiser lost a lot of its power through its dreadful slush box, and it's quite pleasant. And I think only recently now has the car back on the West Coast with his burgeoning collector car storage facility.
Yes.
So, hey guys, it's an unpaid plug. So, if you need to store yourself a fancy car in Los Angeles, contact Matt Fair at Westside Collector Car Storage. I'd still try to find a radio station called WCCS, and it doesn't work, so I can't find swag for any of this.
Steve, you want to take a guess on how much, if you're in the United States, how much it costs to take your Aston Martin Vanquish that has flappy paddle gearbox and send it to Aston Martin for them to put a 6-speed gearbox in it and ship it back to you?
So this is going to be labor and parts and shipping.
Yep.
I'm going to guess north of $1, $2, $3, $4, $5.
Yes.
20 grand.
Up.
25.
Up.
30.
Up.
40.
40.
You're spinning the car over
I know.
to do this.
I know. But
That's,
evidently, the gearbox is so bad. The automatic gearbox is so bad.
Apparently, the automatic is effectively some sort of shitty robot operating the manual. So this is effectively robotics removal.
Remember James Mays? Are you sure? All right.
Yeah, regarding, what was it, Mercedes accelerator on a diesel? Because that was totally the way those cars felt.
It was. It is. And DeMuro did a E55 AMG review.
Oh.
And evidently the 55 is way more reliable than the 63.
Because it's all mechanical, not turbo, right?
Yep. Something like 400 and something horsepower. It was like the fastest sedan in the world for a little while. Although, so was the 96 Impala Super Sport, which is hilarious.
And that was another one he just reviewed.
I love those things.
It was you take a plain Jane Caprice and make it interesting.
For sure. I was trying to find that post that we had, or that I had on, it was, I think, Opposite Talk or Radwood or something, and it was about...
So all the car shit runs together. Are they talking about the boys? No, then whatevs.
I can't remember. It was about modern cars and how... Let's see here. Oh, there we go. And I'll read you. You'll be proud. I was extremely eloquent in this, as long as it pulls up. But so Aston Martin, the Vantages were V8 or V12. The Vanquish was always V12. I think all the Vanquishes had V12.
It went out with a V10 Aston during the Ford years. Apparently that engine is not good.
And you had the Signet, which is horrible because we talked about that.
Nice Scion.
Then the Zagato, V12 Zagato.
Could you at least get the Signet with a stick in Europe?
I don't know.
Because it was a CVT only stateside.
Then you had the DB7, 9, and 11, which I maintain the 9 is one of the most beautiful cars ever made.
Yep.
Although I like the Vantages a lot. The Vantage is like the base model.
Yeah. But what a base model to have.
And then the Vulcan, which was basically a race car.
Yep.
And then you had the Rapide, which I cannot stand.
It was the four-door coupe before four-door coupe was a thing. That it's a four-door hatchback that looks very much like the coupes proper, but you have ostensible back doors and a generous hatch. You know, it still looks the part. It still makes right noises. I'd imagine that was not available, if rarely available, with proper trans. And they've now depreciated to 60 grand, maybe 50 grand in 8 years, because old in English. Because also saw the DeMuro video on that after several spiked coffees, so some of this stuck.
Bailey's or
Bailey's knockoff.
what is that?
Whatever the German grocers sell for $9, and Costco's got one too.
Oh.
Just the generic,
Furors.
generic Irish cream. No. They starve you at the Belfasters.
The Drive. It was on Radwood. It was an article. Millennial nostalgia for the 80s and 90s cars will reshape the automotive industry. And so I responded, there are very few modern cars that stir my emotions. To me, they're not bad cars. They're just too video gamey. My XJ rumbles and shakes at stoplights. It's not quiet, economical, or even pretty. But I love it. Has character. So did my S2K I sold 2 weeks ago. Older cars have soul, passion, feeling. They aren't about having the best aerodynamics, or highest horsepower, or fastest lap times. They're designed to put a smile on your face, to be a big laugh. Modern cars are too serious. Safer, but soulless. Would you agree with that?
I'm in one now.
There are parts of me that's glad that where the automotive industry is going for safety, but there's no cars that are just stirring emotions anymore. But enthusiasts aren't buying them. They're buying old cars.
Yeah.
There's a reason Honda doesn't make an S3000. Honda will make more money.
Hell, the only stick Hondas now are very few Accords, Civics, and the base front drive HRV.
Yep. All of which do not inspire. As I explained to Emily, she says, I never bought toys or had toys. Like we always had, I said, you had appliance cars. You had a car that just was point A to point B. I was like, that Accord is a great car. It's economical. It's reliable. It was fairly cheap for what it was, but it stirs no emotion. It's like a plain sponge cake. There's no flavor at all to it. It is, for her, it's perfect. But for me, there's no fucking way I could drive
much
that.
like Kalen CRV, a magnificent piece of engineering, and no, I do not want one.
No. I would take an original CRV with a stick, four-wheel drive, and hilariously, like, swap it with a turbo Honda engine, because it'd be hilarious to, like, have, like, a B18C turboed.
Just don't flip it. Have you seen the pillars on those?
Yes.
They're real tiny.
Thinner than the Jeeps. Thinner than the Jeeps.
No, even Kalen CRV has little warnings on the sun visors, like warning of high center of gravity. It's like, yeah, I don't want to drive anything that needs that warning.
The Jeep has a warning, but all it says is it handles differently than passenger cars.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say it's going to flip. The Jeep actually handles remarkably well.
I'm pretty sure I got my brother's rodeo on 3, if not 2 wheels once.
Honestly, I told Emily, I was like, if I keep the Jeep, like, and if I don't get a toy, I thought about just taking it to.
It's in Atlanta.
Convertible.
Oddly enough, the convertibles are way cheaper.
Probably because you get wetter in those in the rain than you would in a swimming pool.
Heyo.
But
yeah, oddly enough, all right, the first coupe is an 05 for 28 in Nashville. Oh, Adam, could you take a look at this for me?
Yes.
It's black. Convertible coupe, all dark colors. Yeah, I punched in V12 manuals in the Car Gurus to see what happens within 500 miles.
Have you checked out Auto Tempest?
Yeah. Auto Tempest doesn't have an app. Car Gurus does.
Really?
At least last I checked, no.
Interesting. I thought they did.
But I'm a big fan of the aggregators. Like Auto Tempest sponsors Smoking Tires, so big fan of them, but Car Gurus does make it easier.
The clicker on this doesn't like to work, but just tapping the mouse pad, it works just fine. So I'll just keep doing that.
Go ahead, find yourself another functioning 11-year-old laptop for free. Oh wait,
there's no.
I might have another one soon.
You kind of gave me a computer for free, although I might have gave you some beer for it 4 years ago. So,
yeah, we ain't worried about none of this. Ooh. A Virage.
At this point, I don't think we can keep score about any of this. Not that I'm even worried about that. I would not.
Good, I'm not much of a sportsman anyway.
Pit. So it's like typing in any Porsche under $40,000 with a manual transmission.
You're getting a 924.
Well,
Woof.
Well, I got to make sure I put.
It's amazing how much better the 944 looked. It's the same fucking design.
I know. Or the
It's just it doesn't have the
968 and then looked like you crashed a 944 in the back of a 928.
Yep. Oh, it's funny because the 924 was so half-assed. It had like bicycle reflectors on the fenders. For like the back one had the red, and the front one had the orange. Like this like 2-inch circle reflector.
The worst. So the bad thing is 944, even the turboed ones, you could get for $5,000 all day long.
Mm-hmm.
When I had my Starry on.
Yep.
Now a relatively clean under 100,000 one goes for $20,000.
Yep. Recently, Jerry Seinfeld, comedian and rabid Porsche enthusiast, picked up a pair of 944s, one NA and one turbo. He immediately regretted the non-turbo.
If you're used to a certain thing.
I had the opportunity when I lived in Raleigh to pick up an 86 944 gray.
Aren't you glad you did?
Manual with a $250,000 for $5,000. Interesting, but that's an awful lot of money on something that's still going to cost entirely too much to keep running.
What about a 1959 Porsche Diesel Junior 108 tractor for $30,000? What an exciting way to cut my 0.10 acres.
Would be an amazing way to say I have a vintage Porsche and leave everybody really confused.
Show up at Porsche Concourse.
I would have to roll up in a mid-90s Toyota pickup that I swapped the grill from a European model Volkswagen Taro.
Yes.
Because that's a thing. A Volkswagen branded Toyota pickup. Like, what's with the truck? Please pay attention to what's in the back.
I clearly have
or being towed.
I have clearly coupe listed on my search, and it keeps giving me convertibles.
Are the people at Carvana also making these listings? Because I see a lot of them that have the incorrect listing. They're like, all right, sedans as coupes or coupes as convertibles. Nope. Sport utility as wagons, I'm not that mad about.
I'll allow it.
But it's been interesting to see y'all bad at this.
Oh, my God. A 94 968 6-speed. One of 99 made.
Do you know what the engine is in that thing?
No.
A 3.0 liter 4-banger.
Same one as the 944. Some of the 944s had that.
That must have been the last of them.
It was.
I know that was 2 5s and 2 7s.
Yeah. There's something for sale I want you to look at. And don't think I haven't given this. Have you driven a 911?
Yeah. I really hate the floor hinge pedals in the late 80s ones.
Yeah, but air-cooled. You pay the air-cooled tax for
that
it.
Too.
Emily's worried about if people see it in the garage that people are going to want to rob us. To which I replied, you know what? You have a point. But because people don't have to know that you can pick up a 911 for the price of a brand new Camry.
Uh-huh.
And Porsche is evidently pretty much the most reliable German car you can possibly get.
They're expensive. They're expensive to keep running, but they are solidly built.
Very. And if you get a 911 without the IMS bearing issue, it's much better.
Mm-hmm.
And a flat engine. And it creeps from the rear to the front just a little bit more every year until it's going to be in the front and they're going to call it a rear engine and we're all going to go, huh?
Oh, hi, 928. What's up?
I was like front engine Ferraris.
Which, by the way, do not get one of those.
Oh?
They are nightmarish to keep running.
Oh, the 928.
928, the V8.
The
German Corvette.
Lights.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the 944 of the same era looks better and holds together better.
I'll give you that.
No, the funniest thing I heard about the 944 was, all right, you're getting Miata Performance, but for 6 times the price tag.
We're on Porsche now. We were supposed to do an Aston.
Whoops.
Well, look, if which
It's
Aston Martin?
our show. We'll mess this up as we see fit. Like, how they contribute to this? Hey, I've driven 3 of them. It was the V8 Vantage stick and a couple of bigger, badder automatic ones. Like, hey, the anti-automatic, but it has the push button automatic. So it's like PR key ND. Kalen was watching a video that I had on YouTube. Like, what is this car? It's an Aston Martin and brand new. This was $300K. Oh, I like the seats. I like the heated thing. Like all the non-driving features of it. Like she's a big fan of it having heated non-leather seats in the CR-V.
Just wait until car manufacturers have buttons for the instead of flappy. Second.
Wait a minute.
Horrible. If I had, I think,
or it's your gearless. What I want to see is a manual CVT. What's that? Like you can adjust where the pulleys are in this thing. It would be a triple stick setup or something bonkers like that.
Why not?
Like you'd have to release the clutch to adjust like whichever pulley is doing the thing.
Christ, that'd be great. If I had
let's have some fun with this.
If somebody said you can pick any Aston you want, I would pick a V12 Vantage in white with gunmetal wheels. That would be which Aston would you get?
Whatever
for keeping and having, not reselling and buying something else.
I think it's a DBS from the late '60s. That's in the Lazenby movie.
Yeah,
it's Celehexy.
It's your turn to pick.
Cool.
I'm okay with picking whatever in there, but preferably something we haven't had on pod.
For what it's worth, I did bring something, and hopefully it's a little chilled out by now.
Please
Let's have the Perlenbacher.
How about I have some more whiskey, too?
Cool.
And I'll show you what I was looking at in Norman Park, Georgia, which I'm usually opposed. You need a...
Take 2 for 1.
I'm going to keep it going, because
cool.
It's a live video.
But the story's getting old now.
More whiskey. More whiskey's better than less whiskey. J.P. Weiser Spiced Vanilla Whiskey. I got to be honest. Had my doubts on this, but cheap whiskey's better than no whiskey, and you can't always be a connoisseur. You can be, but you'd be a douche. So no bike for me. Not right now. Kind of want another toy. I was kind of bored with the S2K for a while, and I kind of wanted something different. After having that car 7 years, it was time for something else. So it's an open invitation for you guys to send me something you think I'd be interested in. I like different. I like stuff you don't see very much. Anything like that, I'm okay with. I like different because I'm different. So please send your inquiries to me or CBGPod or anything like that. Thankfully, Steve's car is fixed and good now. Hopefully for a little while. We're going to try to grow the podcast coming up soon. Buy some more ads. Once everything reopens, try to do some on-location stuff. Yep, we're going to do all that. Try to do as much in this industry as possible. I'm already in the music industry. I'm in podcast industry now. Just sow as many seeds as possible so Steve and I don't have to be slaves to corporate America forever. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it be nice not have to go to a desk job or office job Monday through Friday? Man, that'd be nice. Do this and get paid for it. Get paid to drink with my best good pal. Steve, you forgot the beers. I think that'll reach around. Evidently, my brother's a comic book collector, which I already knew about, but Infinity Cosmic Series, limited edition Infinity Series from 2013 and 2014. I don't know what any of that means. Do you?
Nope.
Steve, you want to hear about the? You want to see the car?
Hello.
That looks really nice.
And that would be a 997.
No IMS
in
bearings.
The total opposite of the color scheme you want, but
Isn't
that's
it though?
Lovely.
Yeah. Black on black on black.
With black windows.
I like the S being red.
That's some Corolla shit there.
I don't hate black cars. It's just so hard to keep clean.
Well, if it's never outside, you don't have to worry about it.
That is so pretty. The interior, like, it's so clean too.
Yeah.
I've never driven a Porsche, so I'd like to.
You're gonna like that one.
Really?
I've driven a couple of 997s and really enjoy them. They really got it right with those.
Even though it's air cooled, or even though it's water cooled, it's still. I like the adjust, like it has the adjusting.
You be as whale taily as you want.
That's so. Yeah. The wheels are perfect. I love wheels like that. The split 5-spoke.
Yeah, I kept finding 18 inches that look like that for the cars. Like, I don't want bigger wheels on these dumb roads.
I love the tacks too, because the tack's in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
It's clean. I really don't want leather seats, to be honest.
You're going to have a hard time finding not leather in those.
Back seats, hilarious.
That looks like it's an afterthought. Like, yeah, here's the trunk area, or the rear cargo area, but yeah, let's slap a little leather on that too.
80,000, 87,000, but it's still very pretty. Go away. Oh, it's at the end.
The X there. For 35.
Well, I made 19 on the car, and then put another 6 down. So I put 25 grand. So I'd be financing 10 grand. But what would the taxes be on that? But if I was going to get a black on black on black
3% plus registration, like
3%.
That's what it was on mine. That I had bill of sale for $8,000 on the car, so that was $240.
Or not? It'd be like
having to.
It'd be $1,000. God, that'd be $1,000 in tax.
Yeah, that'd be about $1,050. Yeah.
Still,
like, cool. Can I pick which road you fix?
Something like that. Well, that's all of Aston. Even though we didn't do much Aston, we did enough of it.
They got the idea that we don't have a clue. Whatever. Yes.
What are we drinking?
This is a Perlenbacher Premium Lager Beer Imperial, 7.9 ABV, courtesy of local Lidl, imported from Germany. Brewed in accordance with the German beer purity law. Nothing else to say, so...
How do you say the German purity law in German?
Reinheitsgebot.
Bless you.
Don't you mean Gesundheit?
Oh, wow.
I should have bought this sooner.
You should have bought more of it.
It was $2 a bottle for this liter bottle.
A liter of cola?
Nope. Liter of beer. Half liter.
May 2nd of next year.
Hey. This has been at Lidl as long as I've been shopping there on and off. Yeah. $2 for this decent sized bottle of delicious skunk.
That's worth $4.
It's got like that little bit of European beer skunkage, but
yes,
it's still tasty.
I still love it.
Still smells good.
I still like it a lot. Do you, Steve? Before we move on to music, although could you see me getting out of a 911 or a Cayman?
Sure.
What could you see me getting out of a Corvette?
That still seems kind of weird.
Viper?
It's totally a Viper. You've ranted so much about Viper that makes sense. Considering how little you drive your toys.
Aston.
Sure.
Right-hand drive JDM car.
Natch.
Absolutely. Steve, you want to guess?
That means you and Emily have to swap garage spaces, right?
That's what I told her. I'm glad you said that because I was like, because you can see where the end is.
Or you just back it in.
Yes.
I'm still getting used to having a backup camera in my own car.
Well, she said, well, how are parts for a right-hand drive car? I was like, it's my second car, so I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
Like, if I have to wait
if
2
it's not
weeks.
primary, but it's also Toyota. Like the, body of it isn't terribly different than what was sold here for 6 years.
Nope. So it's really just down to specific
that's
parts.
also kind of the issue that I have with a car that was sold stateside for 3 years that, some of this shit gets expensive.
So, Steve, I want you to, before we move on to the music category, which, well, god damn, we're an hour and 45 minutes in.
Or I could only imagine, Chris Anthony's got, I think it's an 09 vibe.
Yeah.
A car built and sold for a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to make parts difficult for that. Like, mechanically, no, but body panels, you've got a much smaller pool to pull from.
Whereas S2000s, it doesn't really matter what year you buy.
Uh-huh.
They all kind of bolt up.
Uh-huh.
Steve, you want to take a guess on what the price of this, by the way, gorgeous, would be the exact car I would buy if I bought one of these? 1987 911 Turbo. 87 Turbo with 36,000 miles, black with a red interior, with a manual trans. What's it listed for on Auto Trader?
80 grand.
Up.
100.
Up.
120.
Up.
150.
130.
That's real funny considering that Foreign Cars Italia had an 87 911 Cabrio non-turbo for 60 a year ago. There's so much variance, but of the original 911s, the 87, 88, 89s are the ones that get because they have the better 5-speed.
Yes.
Or the fact they had a 5-speed instead of a 4.
Yeah, just because you can afford something doesn't mean you should. There are banks
that's why I wasn't, terribly chomping at the bit to pick up a 2019 Corolla hatchback with 7,000 miles on it. Oh wait, one's living at work now. I'm already fretting, like, yes, it's the first bank of Bob, but still. All right, I owe him $100 a month eventually for 80 months on that one. Oh well.
There are banks that do now 96-month financing.
That's DVS. Ooh. It looks like it's entering the 70s.
It looks nice. Could you imagine doing a 96-month financing?
People aren't keeping their cars that long.
No.
And, I'm sure you've been there to try to, trade out your car that you still owe on is a hassle. I mean, yes, the bank's going to be there to handle it, but it's going to take a moment to get the document to the next people for it, which is what made trading out the second Tacoma such a fun time, or the White Devil VR6 GTI quite the hassle.
Yeah, Emily said, well, what car would you want? I was like, I can't afford it because it's stupid how high they've gone. It was a 97 to 2002 NSX. It's perfect for me. I love it.
That would totally be incredible.
But
and
it's not worth the money they're asking for.
They're no longer selling for 40, are they?
Yeah, but they're automatic and beat to fuck. And
excuse me, the worthwhile ones are no longer going for 40, are they?
Permission to pull up NSX prices.
Do what you want. I'm busy looking up British sports cars of 50 years ago that I'm never buying. Short of me winning the lottery, I never play.
Tax on people who are bad at math.
Uh-huh. For a brother's bachelor party, I bought 10 scratch-offs for everybody there. Like, I think at the most, like, somebody got $2 out of it. It was just... just cheap stuff like, hey, everybody's here. All right, grab a beer and grab a scratch off. Go.
I'm going back to Vegas this year as soon as all this opens. I'm so tired.
I would say if it safely opens. Like, I think the mayor there is chomping at the bit to do so.
she's a bit nuts.
Uh-huh.
Once it's safely open.
Let's face it. To be mayor of Vegas, don't you have to be?
Honestly, yes.
Although that said, anytime I play SimCity or the like, oh, that town's getting casinos. You bet your ass.
Of course. It's a natural moneymaker. Like, I hate to side with libertarians in this, but if somebody wants to gamble all their earnings away, they have the right to do that. You can't stop them from doing that. But I think drugs should be legal. If somebody wants to get baked in their basement and they're not hurting anybody, that's fine. Guy gambling away his entire paycheck, he's only hurting himself. If he's not hurting anybody else, kind of hard to argue with that logic, isn't it?
Yep.
So let's see what manual NSXs are going for now.
Probably the best line from NoFX.
Oh?
I don't fuck with you, don't fuck with me.
When your fucking starts affecting everyone else, that's when I have the problem.
You in what business?
But well, the only business I own is not really a business. It's like I'm an independent contractor.
I say it's real funny seeing a business post from Facebook. Boost your business today. It's like, this is no business. It's not your business. Leave me alone, Face.
Steve, 2004 NSX T Targa, manual trans, 90,000 miles in California. What is it listed for?
$1 a mile.
No, way more.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
More.
130.
More.
50.
More.
200.
160.
Fuck.
That one's on the high end. Okay, so they're not ever going to get that. But I'm going to go for...
It doesn't have flip-up lights. Fuck your car.
2000 NSXT, black on black, manual. 19,500 miles. 2000 Targa, 19,500 miles. What's it going for?
170.
125. You can get a brand new NSX for that.
Yeah, but...
I don't want it either, but...
No, it's much like the new Vets, like, they're not as interesting as they used to be.
No, they're not.
Like, it's a mid engine. It's like, it's got the wrong transmission. Your dash stitching's off.
Yep.
It looks like I went to Home Ec and made your dashboard.
Thank you. If you're going to spend that kind of cash on something, it better be quality.
Uh-huh.
All right, so a more mundane, bone stock, 98 NSXT.
So still Targa.
48,000 miles, 221 miles away. So near as makes no difference.
So
it could be...
It's outside of Atlanta?
VA, Tennessee, Georgia, or South Carolina, or this dumb state. 98 NSX Targa, 48,000 miles, is going for...
A bunch of nines.
You're you're $1 away. It's going for six figures. To me, no way in the world would I be comfortable spending over 40 grand for that car. I don't care how much the market dictates. It wasn't fast then. It's not fast now. It's about the feel of it, the sound, the look.
Yep. And for what it's worth, you could have a lot of the feel and a lot of the speed in an MR2 from the mid-90s, which is also appreciated, but not as steeply. But those are theft targets and a half. I had a coworker that had a 94 MR2 that got stolen from his apartment. It's like, they're lovely, but they'll go missing.
For 100 grand, you could have a 5th gen Viper. For 80 grand, you could have a 5th gen Viper. So why would you spend $100,000? Why would you spend that? But that's market speculators. Speculators dictate the price of things.
That's the Corona emblem.
Oh, fuck, yeah, that's cool as hell.
Fucking cool.
What you got for...
Behold. Different kind of Corona, y'all.
What you got for dinner plans?
Meatloaf.
I don't know what she's doing in there. We've got pizza downstairs, but I kind of want Mexican food. So I'm probably just going to walk up to that joint.
Sweet. Yeah, it's like, I could give you a ride, but you'd have to be on the roof.
That sounds like a challenge, sir.
Me and what rack?
I would.
Yeah, speaking of backing out of things, like, should I get a roof rack for it? I know I want a roof rack for it.
What's the cheapest one you can get?
Maybe 100, but the cheapest good one's about 3.
Do you have to drill into the...
No. There aren't gutters proper, but what they have are something like kind of clamps into where the door frame like goes up into the almost gutter area.
Mm-hmm.
It's like nothing's actively cut out for it, but there's even a Toyota official one where the guy's importing these things from, I don't know if it's North Korea or Russia or something. Like, yeah, you get this thing for $250, but you order it, I've got to order it from there, so there could be a month delay. I want to see what Inno or Yakima or Thule can do. Yeah. I've been talking with a guy in upstate New York about his Inno rack with fairing for $450 plus shipping. That's some big stuff for an individual to ship. So that quickly became nothing. Especially if I can get an Inno rack without the fairing that, frankly, I don't care if it has it. For $300-ish.
I'm having a hard time visualizing how it mounts.
I'll show you a picture.
Okay.
It's not going to be good pod fare trying to explain. It looks like the thing of the thing of the thing of the thing. It goes on top and you high-five your microphone.
Most of the time it's like drilling into
No, don't need to.
That's good because the Jeep is drilled into, but doesn't leak.
That's important. And the vibe, well, all the first-gen vibes had the half roof rack stock. The later ones didn't have the crossbars, so it was just the just the rails, but not the crossbars. The early ones had that. Stupid thing.
That's okay. It's got a shock mount on it, so totally okay. Probably
Flack. Ish.
Itchy. I'm sad, but also happy I don't have to commit money to something I'm not sure of.
Sure. And that's going to be way easier than going through, picking this thing up, discovering you hate it, or you crash your first time and have to pick gravel out of your leg. That's going to suck a lot worse.
Very true. Steve, do we go into our music category even though we're 2 hours in? Or do we save it for 62?
Let's save it for 62.
We can do that. Before we leave, we haven't discussed music at all, so is there any music-related topic you want to cover in the next 3 minutes? No?
I still can't play guitar, so there's that. Like, it's been 2 months of reduced work schedule, and I definitely am guilty of having done precious little with this extra time off.
You too, huh?
The upstairs room, you haven't had a break. You haven't had to play music, but your main job's been totally balls to the wall. So
that's true.
You have nothing to worry about. I still have an entire upstairs of the house that's a fucking wreck. During which, all right, I rehabbed that laptop. I rehabbed my desktop. I'm still reworking how my computer desk looks, but all my free time's up. It's just going to be, all right, what can I get done between 4 and 10? And half that's going to be dinner or prep.
Yeah.
No, I adored at Kalen's Gourmet, but holy fuck, that takes a lot of time.
It does. Emily's definitely not. If it doesn't come in a box, that's cool. That's cool.
I like that a lot better than the plain Jane thing I was telling you about the other day.
I'm going to probably paint bathrooms tomorrow. Emily's like, you going to repaint the studio? I'm like, there are so many holes in these walls that I'm not.
A lot of take down, patch up, cover up, repaint. And then repunch the same holes in the wall. No.
Nope, I'm not going to repaint this room until the day we sell this house, because... Well, there were already those weird 4 holes there. For some reason, up there are holes on the ceiling. I don't know where that came from. And then all the holes I punched in the wall from sound treatment, from which I don't need anymore because I'm not recording. I'm recording guitar on this through my amp, but I'm plugging the amp directly into here, and so I don't really need the sound treatment.
So it's able to pick up
yes
everything through the box instead of.
We can't stop at
sound.
2 hours in. We each have half a beer left.
Well, let me out. Do we want to do the pumpkins or just talk about whatever have you?
I think whatever have you.
I'm listening to nothing new. Interesting, sure, but nothing new.
We'll save it for 62.
Cameron's not that into one of my favorite Nine Inch Nails song, Copy of A.
We talked about that last time. That's because they opened with that when I saw Soundgarden and Nine Inch Nails.
Because I was at the same show with you with Riley, Jason, and Bruce.
And also, Jess was there, and Rachel and Gino was there. Oh, goodness. Too.
Yeah, it's a weird thing thinking of what setting condition were we in back in summer of 14?
That.
That's funny. My car wasn't built yet.
I was in the same condition. I'm currently, in a different house. But I was with the same woman.
Dude, I had a spare ticket of that, and I think we met up with Gray and Trent prior to
Resner.
No, Morgan. It was like, hey guys, I got a spare if you want to go. It was middle of the week, so it was they couldn't. Free and worth it. I picked it up a spare.
Exactly.
Because my buddy Jason Raleigh is a huge metal industrial head. And he was like, why don't you just buy a car from Carvana? I can afford what's interesting there. And I don't qualify for a discount for another 3 months. Should I even last that long there? More so, I could find something better paying. They've taken really good care of me. They actually give a shit about us. At least maintaining 44% of work week and mandating masks, and we're already wearing gloves because we're handling everything Windex through acetone, getting cars cleaned up.
Right.
So it's let's not have our hands dissolve. Here, use this. So, and that's all the supply chain of 2 pallets of hand sanitizer, 3 pallets of rubber gloves. They've got supplies for us handled very well.
They've got money.
Yeah, allegedly. I haven't seen what the stock price is lately, but I saw that get cut in half a month in.
We don't. You really don't know what money, what rich is, until you meet somebody that's really, really rich. Then you go, that's what rich is. And you and I, buddy, we waved bye-bye that long time ago.
I never even said hello to it. What are you talking about?
I never sniffed the jock of it. It's.
I'd rather sniff the boxers. At least aware of those.
So instead of learning guitar, you should learn bass. It's fewer strings, and I already have a red one.
Interesting.
And that's kind of your thing. It's less strings.
Thanks for not making a no treble joke. That song's irritating.
As my buddy DJ, Dejarius Bright, would say, he goes, have you heard that, all about that bass? He goes, have you seen her? She could use some treble. Coming from a black dude who likes big asses, that's saying something.
Booyashaka. I don't think I ever met him, did I?
But you need to, because
I think I like him.
He's one of the nicest dudes I've ever met. And the thing is, he's humongous. He's an inch shorter than me, but he has that triangle build where it's just...
But he was a dancer, right?
Yeah, he's b-boy, hip-hop, break dancer. He can, balance himself and throw. But he looks so menacing. He's the nicest guy ever. We used to call him my black son.
Oh, won't you come
That-
and wash away these customers?
Yeah, if
He got
only.
transferred to a different store.
Long story short, he left my store to go to South Boulevard store to be produce manager. He moved up, and after about 5 months, he was working for some shitty people. He left the company and was a martial arts instructor. And then he pretty soon realized that this is fun, it's engaging, doesn't pay very well. So now
And
that's
also
part-time, and he's back at...
worried about dealing with a bunch of possible sociopaths that think they want to take up jujitsu.
So now he's back at Food Lion. He's doing his dancing still, keeping himself busy, but sometimes you just kind of have to bend over for corporate America if you want to get enough money to do something, because it's just not that easy to do it on your own.
Quit, do your own thing. No.
If I were a musician who only relied on music income, you wouldn't hear your boy talking about motorcycles or cars. You'd hear your boy talking about, well, which kind of rice should I eat tonight? Long grain or white?
Good luck finding it. I'm sure you've seen
That's fair too.
scarce. Because Kalen keeps trying to find it, and she likes to cook with Jasmine, and
It can show you the world.
few and far between.
Shining, shimmering,
Different.
splendid.
That's the Aladdin rice.
We have a guy in our deli named Aladdin, spelled exactly the same way. 27, 28?
How's this thermos game?
Don't know. Super nice guy, though. From Alaska. Moved from Alaska down here. I was like, how you liking it down here? He goes, my girlfriend says it's too hot. Yeah, but it's too cold up there.
Yeah. We got our mosquitoes here, but yeah, when it gets warm in Alaska, you have mosquitoes the size of bats.
Bat-skeetos?
Yeah. Have you heard about that?
No.
Because of all the dampness, the mosquitoes become colossal there.
How colossal?
You can actually see them.
I don't like that.
Like, whatever the awful crane flies you see around here that apparently they're harmless but irritating.
Yeah.
That, but will suck your blood.
It's like those, like,
yeah, they're like
fat
an
fucking...
inch and a half, like flying, fluttery, awful creature. Yeah.
God, those are weird. Honestly, do you know what?
It looks like a daytime moth. Yeah, it's
Funny you should say
awful.
That. Funny you should say that. My least favorite insect is those gigantic moths. Do you know why? Have you ever seen one fly? No. You only see them...
It's only sitting on your screen door.
Yep. And you walk away.
Mm-hmm.
An hour later, it's gone.
Yep.
You never see that fucking thing flying. I don't even know if they do fly. They might just crawl.
I got pictures of a tiny, like, white fluffy moth sitting on the screen door the other day.
Yes.
And just, like, kept shooting at it. Like, it doesn't move. Like, oh, it's kind of fuzzy. It's an awful creature, but it's kind of cute. I told you a time or three, but not the podcast, Dana Gould's story about the moth.
Yep.
Where he gets one stuck in his ear. Spoiler alert, this is one of the most gruesome things you've ever heard, but please look it up.
It's fantastic.
I'll try to post it on Facebook, but it doesn't like me putting shit up, so there's that.
On the page?
Yeah.
It
keeps but it keeps making me like, yeah, your preview's ready. Like, post a fucking thing, stupid.
Oh. George Carlin, how can you tell if a moth farts? When it flies in a straight line?
Nice.
Dana Gould's good. I've been getting into a little bit of Mark Norman lately.
Nice.
It's so
he's a funny dude.
Self-deprecating. It's hilarious.
It's funny because I kept seeing his name pop up everywhere. Like, who is this guy? And then listen to him on something.
He's been on JRE for a...
That it might have been him. It might have been on Sakura. But this guy's really funny. Like, I went out with a girl whose last name was Normand. Probably no relation.
You never know.
I don't really care if you break it. Whatever.
Tom Segura's sister is a real estate agent in Charleston. Or Savannah. And I looked it up, and, like, she has a family picture of and he's there. Like, they're all there.
Wow.
Last
I knew, my old roommate was selling a place in Charleston, I hope, South Carolina, West Virginia. Whatever have you, but it was $450.
Ew.
I don't know what the hell Brandon's doing, but if he's, I'd assume, stepping up from that, the boy's doing okay.
It would seem like it.
I'd say shout out to Brandon Collins, but you sure as hell haven't listened to this. We haven't talked in 15 years.
I still haven't been to Boxcar Betty's.
It would still be takeout only, but last I knew, they're trying to get stores 2 and 3 back open. The one in the south side of town has stayed open. That was the original one, which is right before you hit the Costco, which is right before you hit Folly Beach. So it was like, oh, great. That's what I need. Inch chicken joint next to the cheap gas and cheap liquor.
There's Tom Segura's sister.
Goodness.
Yeah.
She adopted?
No, their mom is Peruvian. And he's fluent in Spanish.
Yeah, he did an entire special in Spanish.
He's done a lot of specials.
Okay, I was like, that's incredible. A, and 2, I guess his comedy style translates. Like, I don't speak Spanish, but just shooting the shit with total strangers in a store is quite entertaining. Like, even nowadays, like, oh, you got masks and gloves on or whatever have you. Like, no, can I help you with anything? Maybe.
Yeah.
Can I have some fun with this? Yeah, betcha. Trying to explain to someone like how the reward system works at a store. Like, you buy 3, get a coupon.
The sisters, Tom, their dad and mom.
That's hilarious because him standing over the everybody looks like he's the father of the everybody. Like,
I know.
How are those children older than you?
He's like 6'1". He's close to my height.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Joe Rogan's like 5'8".
He's always been short, but hey, he's famous. Did you watch News Radio?
I haven't. Is it worth watching?
I think it would be, but it's really funny seeing that when he has hair.
That and Fear Factor.
Yeah. I never wanted to watch Fear Factor. The most Fear Factor thing I do is consuming apple cider vinegar for my acid reflux. That still freaks Kalen out to this day. Just to be able to like drink that, like, chase with water, it's okay. Like, especially that now there have been 2 or 3 acid reflux drugs pulled from market.
Yeah.
Since they're going to give you cancer. Well, whatever Pepsid and its active ingredient is hasn't been, but I'm just waiting on that domino to fall.
The thing that bothered me about Fear Factor is that I'm not afraid of eating bugs. I'm not afraid of it.
Disgusted.
It's just disgusting.
Yeah.
Like, all right, so things I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of not being happy the rest of my life. I'm afraid of dying young. I'm afraid...
That's a nice step up from actively welcoming it.
Yeah, I'm afraid of being robbed. Like, but I'm not afraid of eating bugs. It's just gross. So, like, Fear Factor is not...
Got you twofold on the robbing, firsthand and while gone. So, I don't recommend either.
No.
Did you ever watch Review?
No.
That was such a batshit show. And also one of my love letters from Time Spectrum back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Because my VPN flip-flopped. Whoops.
Oops.
It's so absurd and so fantastic. Where he takes everyday situations, goes through the thing, and gives it a review of 0.5 to 5 stars.
Okay.
And News Radio, him, Andy Dick, and The Last of Phil Hartman. There's something else I wanted to say, and I forgot that already. Notepad so I can write stuff I can't read. Whoops.
You can draw on that, can't you?
I can. It's not as fun as that. Like, that's incompatible.
I was just showing Emily some of Greg Giraldo's best moments. I was like, yeah, unfortunately, he's dead.
He's been dead for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like, he was so damn funny.
Some more is here. Some more. When it comes to comedy, you should do some less. What was the... oh, my God. There was... Oh, had to go to...
Hey, AJ, what day is it?
Don't know.
It's a good day to cross a river.
One of the best ones I heard him say was, had an awkward moment the other day. I locked my keys inside my car outside an abortion clinic. So imagine the look on their face when I had to go in and ask for a coat hanger.
Don't go cutting into their profits, man.
Flavor Flav is responsible for more homeless black kids than Hurricane Katrina. Is it Chris Benoit is a better father than Flavor Flav?
Who?
The wrestler who killed all of his children himself and his wife.
Whoops.
No, that was on the roast of Flavor Flav. That's your...
spelled Benoit?
Yeah.
Because French sucks.
Lisa Lampanelli's pussy's been on more black dudes' lips than purple Kool-Aid.
Do you know she quit comedy?
Really?
She is becoming like a self-help type now.
No.
It's so weird. Like, I've heard her, be interviewed and talk with people like in the comedic sphere. It's like she's not actively a comedian anymore, but like still bust chops something fierce, but doesn't do it professionally anymore.
No. Self-help only works for the people who are writing that for themselves. Like, have you ever written? Have you ever read something somebody else wrote and went, "Oh, it worked for them. It probably worked for me."
No, but I've also not written a suicide note and acted on it either, so I'm not that bad off.
But you, like, I've thought about, like, I've every now and then I'll think, like, what would happen? What would people think if I weren't here anymore? And I kind of think about that, like what would people say about me? So that's why I try to be as friendly, and I want to be as good to people as possible, so that if I were not here anymore, that I would be missed. And I think that's a pretty good way to live. Like, I don't want people to. I don't care if people talk bad about me, but like my friends and family, like I want them to say, you know what? He's gone, but when he was here, it was a better place. That's all I care about. What about you?
It's totally fair. Totally apt.
I think so. Well, that's a good way to end number 61, Steve. When do you want to do 62? I'm off Tuesday and Thursday next week. So I'm open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And you have a full schedule, so.
Yeah, I'm going to see how things pan out with the re-beginnings.
Let's
maybe a week.
shoot for Wednesday, Thursday.
Maps.
62's in the books, guys and gals, friends of the Playhouse. We will see you soon. Send us those recommendations. I'm not getting a bike, and Steve's car's fixed. So a lot of stuff's changed since 61. 60. That too. Steve, we're done, and
a ton of better. Whoops.
That's okay. Well, for Steve, I'm AJ.
And for AJ, I'm still Steve.
You got it. And thanks for the second computer, and see you next week.
That's Luigi.
Later.